Alright, settle down, folks. I can practically hear the keyboards clacking with the question, should I learn Rust as a first programming language? The eternal dilemma! It's like asking if you should jump straight into the deep end of the coding pool or just dip your toes into the kiddie section first. But fear not, because you've tuned into the Programming Oracle Station, where we dispense wisdom with a side of banter. So, if you are ready for some bite-sized wisdom, pun totally intended, let's tackle this age-old query together. Strap in, because this ain't your grandma programming advice. And now, the infamous question. Should you use Rust as your first programming language? Well, if we look around for advice from our peers, we quickly realize that the mainstream opinions are two. First, we have the big brother, the senior engineer, who thinks that, oh no, Rust, that's too hard for beginners. And maybe that's partly true, because basically everything in Rust happens along the command line. And if you are starting programming, maybe you don't know how to bash. But if you do know how to use that, well, hats off, my lord. So, why they say that Rust is so hard? Well, there are many reasons for that, and maybe the first is complexity. Rust has a steeper learning curve compared to some beginner-friendly languages like Python and JavaScript. And that's the case because concepts like borrowing or lifetimes can be really challenging for beginners to grasp initially. Then we have limited resources, because compared to these other established languages, Rust has fewer learning resources, tutorials, and community support, which can make learning really difficult. Although, guys, in my opinion, the information that you get for other fellow Rustaceans is really high quality, so props to that. Then, of course, we have slower prototyping, aka more time spent for coding development. And this is because the strict compiler checks makes prototyping software slower because you have to adhere to Rust's rules just from the start. The last main reason is Rust ecosystem, because while growing, is certainly not as mature as those of other languages. This means that it could be difficult for you to find the right libraries and frameworks available for the task that you need to solve. So, these are the key points that tells us that Rust could be a little bit difficult for beginners to understand. Is that all? Of course not. By the way, guys, the way I think is that learning something difficult is always worth it, but sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating. The key is to have an efficient, simple system that can take you from zero to decent in the shortest amount possible. To this purpose, I have created a cheat sheet for you that contains all the basic things that you need to know to start your Rust journey. You can find the link in the video description, so guys, don't be lazy and just check it out. Okay guys, now let's get back on our heated debate. At the other end of the spectrum, we have him, the professor, the computer scientist guy who knows he can write a compiler using just pencil and paper. But I wonder if he can do that writing actual code. This guy thinks that, yes, you should learn Rust as your first programming language because with others you can pick up real bad habits. Is he talking about trailing commas in Python? I really hope so. So, let's find out what's true about this statement. Rust really has a solid structure, superior to others, especially because of the borrowing rules enforced by the compiler. Then we have modern language design. Rust is a modern, statically typed language, designed with safety and performance in mind. Learning Rust introduces you to modern programming concepts like borrowing, ownership, lifetimes, which are valuable in understanding memory management. Another strength is for sure safety and reliability. Rust Borrow Checker enforces strict rules at compile time that prevent common programming errors like dangling pointers, and data races. This can lead to write more reliable and secure code. Then of course we have performance, because Rust speed can be comparable to those of C and C++. This makes Rust a great choice for systems programming, game development, and other critical performance applications. And the last two reasons could be the most important for some of you. First, we have growing popularity. Rust counts for the whole pie, and developers who use Rust on a daily basis are simply loving it. This popularity surge means that learning Rust can open up opportunities inside the industries where systems programming and performance are really crucial, like embedded systems, game engines, and especially blockchain development. If you want a good example of performance and memory management in Rust, check my previous video on strings and string slices. You can find it up here. So guys, by now, if you have minimal cognitive skills, you should have an answer. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Well, it's yes for some people and no for others. Whether Rust is suitable as a first programming language largely depends on your learning style, your goals, and the kind of projects that you want to be involved in. So, go with Rust if you're interested in systems programming, game engines. If you look for a language that emphasizes safety, reliability, and performance, then okay. And last but not least, if you're interested in learning challenging concepts, then yes, Rust can be very rewarding. On the other hand, if you are really not a programmer, you come from other fields like data science, psychology, economics, and stuff like that, then maybe some other languages like JavaScript and Python can be more rewarding for you because they are immediately useful and applicable, especially for data science and web development. This is because on the internet you can find huge communities, lots of libraries, frameworks, and especially tutorials, so that you can literally copy-paste the code and just speed up your learning and your applications. But now, want to know my honest answer? My answer is that I really don't care. Look around, guys. There's no one that can tell you, oh, you should learn this, or you should learn that. Like, wake up. Do you have fun learning it? Does it provide value to you? Does it help you building the skills that you need to have in order to get your stuff done? Yes? Good. Then learn it. Go for it. If the answer is no, then switch to another language. Switch to Python. No, but seriously, I consider programming and programming languages as both a tool for succeeding in real life and as an art, something that has an intrinsic value and aesthetic value just for the sake of itself. So guys, this was an exhaustive discussion, so thanks for following until this point. And now we have seen the main pros and cons, so you should have the right tools to decide for you. I'll see you on the next video and happy coding!